those 2 clicks. That's all. Nothing changes. Okay, so now we've shifted mode into the World Mediation Circle gathering, and this is the opportunity to talk about the app part of it. I think this is the, I mean, in terms of how should it be done? Because I was thinking that why can't we ask companies to sponsor that? Can't we get sponsors as in that sense? Mandy's changed the location also for the next meeting. So, okay, Mandy, but this meeting also you'll have to speak. You'll have to unmute yourself in this one also.
We change hats, and we are
Yes.
in the new meeting.
But I think more important for this particular World Mediation Circle meeting is that what is really happening in relation to bringing people in, creating circles. So Felicity is going to tell us some thoughts on what's been happening in relation to reaching out. That one message that I told everyone to send out on WhatsApp or wherever. Did that message go out? Do you know someone who helps people resolve fights?
I do know people that help people resolve fights. How are we going? Well, we have had 3 or 4 gatherings now of the Australian Mediation Circle.
Yep.
And we're getting some consistency with people who are showing up each month, and to the point where if they're not able to come, they're sending their apologies. So that's lovely that there's consistency building there. There's a real sense of community, I feel, amongst those of us that are meeting. And there is a sense, I believe, of people finding ways to reach out into their own contacts and to try to expand on what we're doing. So I think it's been a great start. In some ways, it's a slow start, but these things don't just happen overnight. They do take time. And I'm encouraged with the consistent attendance of people. I think that's a great start at this point. We've launched the schools mediation circle as well, and at this stage we've just had the first meeting where we've really just spent time discussing how we might approach that. And I think at this time we are focusing on universities, although if we know younger people, we're certainly speaking with them to try to get a feel for where we want to focus our time initially, I suppose. So from that, we are creating an Australian Mediation Circle Facebook group and page to try to have a one source of information so that people within the circles have somewhere to post information, and where we can post meeting times and dates, and people just know where to go to find that as the communities grow, which I think is an essential part of keeping communication fluid and accessible. We've had some discussions around the First Nations circle as well, and we're trying to make some inroads there. Australia is geographically a very large country, and we do have communities that live in cities, regionally, and then remote. And having access to computers and hardware is challenging for many of our communities. So that's a hurdle that we're trying to brainstorm through at the moment, and I'm hopeful that we'll get started despite those challenges in the communities and regions that do have access to infrastructure that supports that. And I think is that where we're up to?
Yeah, good. I think that's the thing. Idea is to just start. The seeds are being planted right now, so that Indigenous Peoples Mediation Circle, whenever Helen has time, I haven't asked her. You were talking to her. I haven't sent her a message. Whenever she has time, we launch that. So, but the only thing is that we might change the days when we are going to have the gatherings. I'm thinking just keep one day, which is the last Wednesday of the month, for all gatherings. Yes, and send everyone out, each of the places into their own, into their breakout rooms. But you also have the larger one. People can come into the larger one. So at least the gatherings happen at the same time, and everyone can also interact with each other and that kind of thing. So maybe we can just keep that for the last Wednesday, because I'll also be traveling. But time to vote. Lisa, you can say bye to us. Lisa has to go to vote. Lisa? Yes.
Yeah, I have to go and cast my vote now. So I'll join the later session.
Yeah, thank you very much. And what we're deciding is that in terms of the gatherings, maybe we'll have all of them on the same day. So last Wednesday of the month, we'll have even the South Africa also we'll do at that time, so that there is one consolidated day available to everyone. And it makes life easier for me also, because I'm also going to be traveling, and I also will maybe not have so enough time to have each of those separate ones. But we'll keep sending out information to people, at least that one WhatsApp message or whatever needs to go out. Let's start bringing people in from outside the mediation world. So college, everyone around you also, like Mandy's son, or your children or friends or whatever. Please, let's just get everyone in. Except Law Mom is not going to get her kids right now; they're too young. I'm not going to. I'm going after you leave, and I'll tell them about the number of children you have and how old they are.
Four under 3.
Yes, 4 children under 3.
Okay, I'll see you later.
See you. Thank you for coming, Lisa. Bye.
Bye.
So that's Rumain. How are we reaching out? You're reaching out to people, you said, and there are some people that you have whom you're connected with. Yes.
Oh, yes, thank you. I'm working with right now. Like I said, I talk to my the closest friend that I have, former teachers, and I have lawyers. I even have some judges that have come together, and they asked me to give some training. We started, and today we will have a session. I'm going to talk to them about this, what we have said, because what I did was to share the idea first. Everyone was, why do we think that mediation is something important to us? First, like I just said, because you're doing it already. So your survival depends on the mediation. It's not by the court system, because every day you need to negotiate. Every day you need to talk. Every day mediations take place sometimes without knowing. If we don't name it, it's just happening. Then they come together, and today today will be our third session. But they are very excited. They want to learn. They are bringing experience from the family law, from the court system to the mediation. Try to see why the government cannot really assist in implementing mediation in the country. I say this is going to be your role, the role of all of us, to see what we can do between the people that we can serve. It's not just about money, but it's about the heart. Like Mediator Vikram always said, yes, you may make some money, but also to think about the idea of helping other people to live in peace. Sometimes they do not know that they can find the solution by just coming together and then discuss before it gets worse. So I have now a group of 14 people that are also part of the DRC circle of mediation. So as we training them, we also continue to having conference around the city, but I'm holding the conference with students, teachers in the universities. Like this coming Saturday, I will have one in a former university where I used to teach when I just started. So I called the dean in charge of research and spoke with him. I said, "Do you remember me?" He said, "Oh, I remember you." So yeah, I have something very interesting that I would like to talk to you. Then I share the idea with him. He said, oh, that is great. I'm going to have my students in law and then in international relations. And then I'm going to have them do this. So, and then when I say any day, if you are open, I'm going to share the Zoom and then we do that. So, oh, let's do that this coming Saturday. That's how I arrange with them so I can go and talk. I'm going to do the conference from the United States because I am not in the country yet. But one of my trainee is a judge. She's a lady. She said, oh, I'm going to be there because she's going to be part of the speakers. She said, I will be there in person so I can represent our group. So yeah, we do it. It's not easy, but I can tell it is moving.
Perfect. That's all that's required, because when you said about you sitting in the US and someone being with the students in their class, we did that. I'll be talking about this in Ecuador. We did that. I was on Zoom and Gabriela was in the class, and that one conversation we had, and not even introducing the word mediation, but just asking that question, does any of you help your friends resolve fights? Those kids came out, they started talking about their experiences, and that's when the word mediation is introduced. That this is what mediation is, and this is who a mediator is. So that's the way we will do it. I think perfectly all right. I think we're on the right direction. Just few introductions happen, and it'll all take place. So Dominique is also here. Dominique, are you with us? Yes, Dominique. Dominique, we can't hear you. If you're saying something, we can't hear you. We can't hear Mandy. We can't hear Dominique. Yes, he's here. No, I think there's an audio issue. I think there's an audio issue. We can't hear Dominique. Dominique, can you hear us? He can hear us. Perfect. Good. Yeah. No problem. We do lip reading also. We have one specific class on that. Everyone has been taught lip reading on Zoom. But Mandy, you know that the International Reflective Practice Circle is being launched on the 5th of June?
Yes.
Yes. Felicity, you know that? Perfect. So at 7 o'clock Canberra time, and the other one is at what, 6 p.m. Greece time. Press.
Could I contribute something to the conversation?
Absolutely.
Because it is connecting Dominique, who is here because of my fault on the time information. But I wanted to say that the tourist mediation is very connected, maybe more than others, with the international one, because tourists go all over the world and live all over the world, and it's like without human beings, without borders, country borders, I mean. So they become, for a little while, part of the life of other people in other countries. So this thing is very useful to help people realize that we all live in this world, just this.
Yeah.
So the international idea and the humanity idea, and what I wanted to say is that this international but also tourist mediation circle is very important for creating the idea of humanity. And humanity is people all over the world without all these borders we have between us, races, genders, countries, ages, all these things that we have and separate us. So this idea of humanity is what is a human being in the best version of it. And people will experience this beauty of being a human being, just that, and connect with another human being, and this is much more important than if justice works or doesn't work, because it shouldn't work. I mean, in justice, one person is right, the other is wrong, one wins, one loses. It's not what the human beings have to find in between them. It's not connection, it's separation. So it's not that we need mediation because justice doesn't work. It's another level of contacting people. And this international idea could be very, very connected with the tourist idea. So we feel that we are just human beings in this beautiful humanity and don't have these mechanisms of survival that we have and cause fear. Because there is a theory Dispenza has that he says that when people are in fear, they have the information that there is an animal lion running after him. So the blood goes to the hands and the feet to run and to fight. The first thing. The second thing is that heart closes, because you don't have to have feelings. If you have feelings, you can't kill the enemy. So the second mechanism is to close the heart, not have feelings, be egoistic, so you will kill if you have to, because you have to save your life. This is a very natural thing to do when a lion runs after you. But if you have this stress situation in everyday life, makes people have fear all the time and live like lions run after them. So this is what we should bring through mediation to the world. We are not lions. We don't live in jungles. We are a humanity. We don't have to not have feelings so we will not be in danger or be hurt. It's the security of having feelings and being connected. It's so beautiful. And this is very beautiful, Vikram says. And I believe that that should be the basis of our action, is experience. We have to find ways to experience. Stop talking, because if somebody feels this beauty, he will just like it. And it is that is the most important than telling why and why, because we still talk to the mind. The mind is working for helping people to survive. That's the job they have. But we don't talk to the minds. We talk to the hearts, and heart can experience and create experiences to change the programming of the brain. So this is what I feel is important to do in this international mediation circle, and tourism could help us very much to realize how beautiful life could be if we trust each other, if we don't make scenarios and fantasize the other people as a lion that wants to eat us or harm us. And this is the beauty of this community, Vikram, you have created, that we feel so beautifully being ourselves, being connected, expressing feelings. We forget that we are on YouTube and we talk by heart like nobody hears, and we don't care. We have experienced so many times this beautiful connection and this beautiful feeling of friendship that it is, we don't care. We just want to have this experience. And I believe that is the ground we should work on.
So nicely said. Felicity, can anyone say it better than her? She says so nice. I should just take out these clips. That's what I need to do. Whenever Mandy speaks, we need to take these clips out and put them out there. But
No,
Dominic, no, so you're not muted. Dominic, your mic is on.
Thank you.
We can see your mic. That means you're not muted. But there is, so you're not muted from my end at all. You can check. I mean, on the where the mic that you have, you've checked the right audio or right mic that you've chosen. At the bottom, where you have the mic, you have that arrow, upwards arrow. When you click on it, what mic is selected out there? Just see whether the right mic is selected. Yes, Felicity, any thoughts on all the nice things that Mandy has said?
Oh, I think it's beautiful. And it's exactly what we've been saying, that this is just such an opportunity for a global community to come together and support one another. And the tourist circle, but also all the circles.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And I am loving the analogy that you're the sea, Vikram, connecting connecting all of the, and it's true. It's an image that I have
she
now.
Calls it the ocean. She calls it the ocean.
Yeah.
Ocean.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's fabulous, and it is an accurate image of the power of what one person can do who has a passion to achieve something. And I think it's incredible.
And this is exactly what all of you have to do. That's all we need to do. Just reach out, get people from all over, and create a good community. I mean, like I said, numbers is not the matter. It's about the people. And when good people come together and they connect with each other, good energy comes out. And good energy always, something good will come out of it. Whatever we'll see. The important thing is that the time we spend together, that is itself is nice. And that is what the best part about it is. Everything else, it's not about us changing the world or whatever. All those things we don't want. This moment that we spend has to be nice. That's the important part. So Dominic is still struggling with his mic. Why Dominic was important was that this example, Dominic, your example is what I was giving people in terms of the International Tourist Mediation Circle, that Dominic was in India and they had some issue, and how, I mean, just the fact that they had someone there, I think gave them some support, this thing. But you don't find a mic, is it? When you click that arrow, it doesn't show you the options of select a microphone. What I'll do is, let me just share the screen. I mean, what we see when we are looking at that mic. Give me 1 second. Yeah. So it's. But this concept everyone likes, that one day in the month is what we do. So Dominic, just look at this picture. When you click this arrow here in front of the mic, do you get this option? Select a microphone. Next to the mic, there's that arrow there. This is mic at the bottom. Next to that, the little upward arrow. No? It doesn't show you this select a microphone. So maybe there's no microphone connected. You think that's an option? So next steps is what we have to do.
Let's guess what Dominic would say. Let me guess.
Dominic is not getting the same. The issue is that Dominic is not getting the same options that we normally see. That's what the problem is. He's not seeing this. He's not seeing this select a microphone option when he clicks that. So we're just thinking that he doesn't have a microphone connected. That could be the only reason. Or system-based one.
But what I would like to say is that Dominic is here because he had the experience. He's not a mediator, but he had the experience of this friendship and this friendly environment that mediation is. And this shows that this is enough. And this is what brings people to come closer. Because when fear and there goes away and trust exists, there is a willing to be there in this environment. And that's very beautiful. That it happened.
And Dominic may have the mediator mindset, so he's also a mediator as part of the so, and he has the world map behind him. So look, the International Tourist Mediation Circle, he's all set for it. So, where is Kalumara? Kalumara, what's how do you pronounce her name? Wendy?
Kalomira.
Kalomira.
It's good for. It's the good fortune in Greek. Good fortune.
Did you ever ask any of us?
Kalimera, good day. Kalimera, Kalomira.
And what about our names? No one asked us what does Vikram mean. What is the meaning behind Vikram? No one asked that. Only the Greek ones, she tells me. First, if someone gives their name in Greek, first thing is what is the meaning of that? But our names, she doesn't even ask. What does Vikram mean? We don't have any idea because people in India, their names don't have any meaning.
Vikram,
they do, Felicity. They do. I'm just joking with her.
We think in our heart, and it is always and love. Vikram means the tree of peace.
Okay.
The old
whatever. Now this is the new meaning of Vikram.
Yes.
So now, what are the next steps? Now, the next step is please send that message out around. Let's get the next gathering when we have on the last Wednesday. Let's bring in people who have that mindset and let them share their experiences and let them create the circles within their college. Because like Romain is going to talk to that university college on Saturday. Yes, Romain? And then they can actually set up a circle in their college. Romain, is it just Romain? Are you going to do that? Are they going to create a circle in their college?
Yes, hello.
We'll ask them, Romain, we should ask them to then connect. They should create a circle in their college. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's how it'll grow. They'll create a circle and then they will further go into their communities and into their families. They'll take that word that, yes, Dominic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, hello.
Greetings, everybody.
How are you, Dominic?
I'm fine, thank you. It's good to see you, Vikram.
Yes, nice to see you. But everyone else, they can introduce them.
Romain, Felicity, Mandy.
Hi.
Hello.
Everyone has put their names. I mean, okay, Felicity is on the Gold Coast. In Australia.
Australia.
Oh, nice. Okay, where are you, Romain?
Yeah, I'm in Congo, but speaking from the United States.
Okay, cool. So we've got the corners of the globe covered. We've got Australasia, Felicity. Romain can deal with Africa.
Yes.
and the United States.
We're all good.
The subcontinent.
And the evening one, we'll get South America also. And
okay.
Because it is, of course, later night for Romain, but he's still here. But so Dominic, we were talking about you before you came in, the International Tourist Mediation Circle. Why is it important? And as a traveler, what are the benefits you see in it? And also some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, as we spoke about, it was very useful to have you as sort of in our back pocket, so to speak, when we found ourselves in a situation that we did try and we did manage to settle. It was just more, it gave us this a little bit more strength and a bit more confidence, knowing that if the conversations with the people we were dealing with didn't quite go the way we wanted, that we had somebody that we could call on that could speak to them. And as I was pointing out to Mandy the other night when we were talking, being in Greece as an English person, I live in Greece, and I notice every day that there is a cultural difference about the way that people talk and the sort of unspoken protocols, if you like, that have to be adhered to. So in Greece, everybody first must get very angry and wave their arms about and start shouting and screaming before they come down to discuss a settlement. I don't think I'm wrong there, am I, Mandy? and in India, there's also, I noticed, a lot of bravado, the sense of well, I'm more important, or I know better, or I don't know, just the sense of you're the tourist and this is my turf. So dealing with a problem, you have to know how to navigate the cultural difference. And that's where I think this idea has legs.
Great. So now the next thing is, how do we take it to the tourist? How does the tourist get to know? Some thoughts on how we can reach out to them? What are the different avenues that you would suggest?
Me?
Yeah, just a general thought as to how do you get to a tourist? How does a tourist get to know about it?
This is a very interesting question, and I was, again, Mandy and I touched briefly on it yesterday, the other night when we spoke. I think, honestly, my experience traveling in India this time taught me that the world has moved on from the Lonely Planet, and it's every traveler and tourist, there is a difference, has a mobile phone, and indeed we learned to use the local apps to help us, whether it was the train app, which was in India, I'm sorry, completely useless to us, but also booking hotels and so on. Everybody uses booking.com and Airbnb. Everything is done by an app. So I would imagine that we would have to somehow, or you would have to somehow find a way to connect through a platform that is for tourists. And in my experience, many of the platforms that are for tourists are more concentrating on the monetary aspect of their platform. So they are selling airplane tickets, hotel reservations, and such like. There are obviously those platforms that sell insurance. Yep. So I think, although it's not a mainstream service at the moment, but there's no reason why it can't grow. So it might be quite difficult to get in with a tour operator or an online travel company as to offer this mediation service. But then it comes to also what are you offering the tourists, and how are they paying for it? Are they paying a subscription to have the use of it when they arrive, or are we offering it on a point of need basis?
The way I'm looking at it, Dominic, is that to create, I mean, this is a long-term kind of thing, that to create an Uber for mediators. So in a way, wherever you are, you can actually, in terms of your location, find a person. So that's something that in terms of the supply part of it can be looked at. But to actually have...
Sorry to interrupt, Vikram. I just have to take this call. I'll mute myself, but continue talking.
Yeah. So the other thing is that each of those tourism websites, wherever every country, whatever tourism website they have, like Romain was saying, that the way Congo is put out to people in relation to, oh, don't go there and it's not safe and things like that. So the Congo government obviously is promoting themselves. So in a way, this can come in there, that okay, if you have some kind of an issue, there are these people, this is the network. So one is to create that whole thing around the World Mediation Circle itself, the credibility. It's all going to be the credibility of the circle based on the credibility of the people who are part of it. And that's why it's really, again, I'll keep emphasizing on this. It's really important whom you bring in. And don't go by numbers, go by quality, because at every point of time, that good user experience is really important. So that's the way I look at it. So I think, so for me, I think even the government website, tourism websites, like okay, Dominic was saying, you have the booking sites, whether they want to promote it or not, maybe not. For according to them, there are no issues that should take place with the hotel, but with hotels, issues do take place. So in that kind of a situation, does that company need people there? Does Booking.com need a person sitting there to work out something with a hotel that they have an issue with? So that part of it can be another opportunity for mediators that they can come in. But wherever else, we'd start the work. But important thing is to get people in first, get the right people in, and in every part of the country. So it's like I said, it's not about the larger cities only. It's about having people all spread out, and then the Uber really works. Then the fact that whoever has anything at least has a good person to talk to. The first conversation that a person has with someone who can actually give them that confidence in relation to the process, because the trust that they'll develop, that is the important part. Yes, Felicity, any thoughts of what going forward? What else? That was the tourist part, but otherwise, in general, is it the school teachers, that aspect that I said, lots of these school teacher groups that we need to get into? Romain, I was telling everyone that all these there are lots of Facebook groups with school teachers and all. Get into those groups and ask those children, those teachers, that would they not want to be peacemakers in the community. And I'm saying that they can charge for their service. They can reach out to people if they have a dispute. They tell them that, okay, I'll get you together with the person. Let me reach out to the other side. And if you can't sit together, we have these. I mean, we have a whole. I mean, maybe a few mediators at least in our area. I'll bring them in, and that kind of a thing is like a platform that they are creating themselves within their community. So they're identifying the mediators or the people with the mediator mindset. They are identifying the people who have the dispute. They are putting all of that together, and they'll let them charge for it. Where's the problem in them charging for the service? So, and school teachers, as I understand, do need something extra on the side, because I don't know whether teaching pays them enough to I mean, that I don't know country wise what the situation is. So they need something. All of them are looking out for some opportunity or the other, some part-time teaching or whatever. So I feel this is something that for them, one, they're doing good for the community and they're getting paid for it. And then, I mean, they'll feel good, the ones who have that mindset. So again, a little choosy about whom you bring in, but this is an opportunity for them, and they'll take the whole thing into their communities. They can create the circles there. So that's one target group I feel that we should look at. Yes, what do you think, Romain? Is that a
Yeah, when I had a chance to talk from a well-listened radio in the country. So what happened after that day, I received calls from police, a police department. So they wanted me to go and then talk to them about the mediation, what I was telling at the radio station. And then I had soldiers also coming to the mediation, telling me, you need to come and help us where we live. There is so many problems. Nobody's helping. So we think you can be someone that would help us. But at that time, I didn't want to really deal with them because of the way so many things are handled in Congo. And I told them that let's see, let me keep talking about this. Maybe I'm going to write a letter and send to whoever in charge with the police department, so he will know that I'm being in contact with you guys, because I don't want anybody to come and say, who is that person who will start gathering police and soldiers around him talking about information that we do not know. So I was just scared, but they really liked the mediation. They wanted the mediation to be part of their life.
No, actually, we have to launch the police mediation circle, because this is this is also a great opportunity for mediators, that when a complaint comes to the police, of course, it's the nature of the complaint. A lot of these complaints can actually be addressed by mediators to start with. So the first responders can be mediators, which is happening in there's one area in the US where they've done that. So the complaint comes to the police, looking at the complaint, mediators are sent out there. So it could be a family fight or whatever. I mean, different kinds of things. So the mediator goes out. So that's another opportunity we have to create, that whenever a complaint comes, and okay, except these kind of complaints, if there's a murder, maybe not, but there are so many other complaints that come in, why don't you send these people out? And that's why the importance of getting the right people in from the community, in who have that trust with the community. If they are part of that circle, that adds credibility to the circle. It gives people that faith. Yes, the people who are going to reach out will be able to resolve it, because the emotions are high. Everything is, I mean, it's so hot at that point of time. So getting the right people from the community is also part of it. So that's how, when I say the Uber of mediation, it'll be useful here, because this is something that you need right then. Something's happened, you need someone to get in right. It's like the firefighting kind of situation. So that's another opportunity we have to create, that police mediation circle, and explaining that to the police, to have these people to reach out to. Yeah.
May I say something, Vikram?
Yeah, please.
I think it's one of the most important, I would say, because when people feel insecure, they go to the police. Even if they are tourists, if they have a conflict, and it is the most secure place to go to be protected. But when you go there, you feel stressed because of the police. I mean, you go there for security, but feel insecure at the same time. So if this experience is taking you out of this stress, giving you the chance to feel that there are trustful people, but not people who will send you to the court or may cause you punishment and all these things that police is connected with. And if from the police, the mediation is a choice, this will be very, very, with these feelings, stress, security, all these are in a very high level. And there is mediation for you, giving you the safety, but also the calm environment and the trustful environment and all these things that the beautiful. It will be very, very clear in the high levels of stress how beautiful is this procedure. And also that would be great for tourist mediation, because that's where tourists go when they have a problem. Yeah. So that would be very, very important to find a way to make. We used to have in Greece tourist police. It is cancelled. I don't know why, but it was a friendly police, a more friendly police, and this is a space to create mediation. And also this idea of booking, if we had the connection with these platforms, tourist platforms, to offer this service, where tourists go to find rooms and transportation and all these things, that would be the great place for spreading tourist mediation also.
Yeah, absolutely. But Dominic has thoughts. Yes. Dominic, you've gone back to the same setting. We can't hear you now. Yes. Something. No. We can't hear you now. We can't hear you. No. There's I think there's some cable which I think might be a little. No, you were perfect before you left, but things have.
Maybe your phone, Dominique, maybe your phone is very close to the PC.
No, but it's not connected on the phone.
Yeah, but it was microphonizing.
Yeah. I think it's something to do with the internal mic or something like that. No. So maybe the police mediation circle is going to be a separate circle also, and they're connected to each other, of course, the international tourist one, but so that has to be launched, the tourist mediation circle.
I have experienced this with police because I have the two friends who are policemen, and when they had conflicts, they called me to go friendly and help. And it was very easy. And it happened in the police station. And it was very, very good also because the environment was the police and they were feeling protected. But there was a space in the police station which was very, very civilized. And they liked it. It worked at the same time because they knew. But if we didn't find the solution in one room, they would go to the next room of the police station and they would go to the court. So this was very helpful.
Gun on the head settlement. Gun on the head settlement.
It was like Scottish douche. Oh. Hot, cold.
Dominic is not connecting. There's something. But there is on the. I mean, we kind of faintly can hear you. There is something I think to do with the mic. There is. Maybe you could just connect your phone for the audio. Phone for the audio and video for with the laptop. Maybe that could work. Felicity, any other ideas for mediation circles that we haven't launched yet? Police is going to come up. What else? Anything else?
Oh my gosh. I think we've covered a lot of ground tonight.
That has to be launched, okay? The police mediation circle, it's on my mind. There's one particular person I really wanted him to come, but I think his issue is language also because he speaks in Spanish only. But he's created something in their small one province in Spain. He's done a lot of work in relation to police mediation there. So I want him to be part of the launch. Let's see if we can do that soon. Because
that's excellent.
But then I think the other thing is that I mean, if we can actually get people in colleges and all to start creating their circles and so work happens there, I think something will change. Some action will happen. But the next one, just remember, 5th of June, we have 7 p.m. Canberra time, and of course, then we have the last Wednesday of the month for all the circles. I'll have lots of breakout rooms. I'll have 50 breakout rooms. Everyone can have the discussion. Even if there's one person, if Australia only one person comes, you'll be the only one sitting in that room. Don't mind. I'll come and join you once in a while.
I'll chat to myself. It's okay.
So we'll send you another one. Let's hope we can get. So the only thing is, in terms of timing, now normally we're keeping it at 7 p.m. Canberra time. Do you think I can keep it a little earlier? Because I wanted New Zealand also to be part of things for them. 7 p.m. Canberra is quite late for them, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so.
I'd need to check that. Yeah, we can try earlier for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me check the time.
So Mandy, you want to come in the evening again? No?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I want and intend to, but I'm not sure. Could you please repeat the times because
6 p.m. 5 p.m. and 6 p.m.
5 is the tourist.
Yeah.
And 6 the international.
Yeah.
My time, huh?
Yeah, your time.
Okay. I will try to connect with Dominic.
Yeah, just get his
if he can,
system.
because he has experience to share, and I believe it's the most important.
Very important. Very, very important.
Yeah,
because that's why I always keep saying, look, don't listen to me, see the practical aspect of it, to where we are actually working out there. Yes, Dominic, we're hoping that you're going to say something and we'll be able to hear you.
you're going to be able to hear me. Can
Yes,
you hear me?
we can hear you. We can hear you now.
Perfect. Perfect. I've been able to listen to some of the things you were saying, but not all of it.
So the larger activity, the World Mediation Circle, or in terms of the International Tourist Mediation Circle?
Well, actually, I jumped in on something you were talking about, how to put the service out there. And of course, nowadays, going back to the social media and the platforms that everybody's using, one of the most important platforms that people use when they travel is Instagram, because they're recording their videos, they're uploading stuff on various platforms, YouTube and what have you, their own networks. But Instagram is a very important one. And advertising on Instagram is very cheap. It's like 97 euro cents for a campaign one. So that may be a way, because you can target particular people who are actually traveling. You can target your advertising to the people who are actually on the move, or people who are looking at travel articles before they go, when they're planning a trip. And so those are it's something that you need to put out there, but you need to have a very clear idea of what you're offering. And I heard you talking about the police and whether you're going to come back to that or something, but of course, that's one of the times that tourists and travelers get into the most difficulty, either with police or when they have an accident and they may need medical help. To look at what areas travelers are most likely to want your mediation service, and then package it accordingly.
Yeah, because the whole idea right now is to be able to create the larger circle. So of course the World Mediation Circle to become a larger circle, and under that there are lots of circles being created. So like Felicity is working on the Australia Mediation Circle, Romain is working on the Congo Mediation Circle. So right now the seeds have been planted and these circles will grow. And it's not about people just professionally practicing as mediator. It is to reach out into communities, into schools, into colleges, and ask people who are those people in your community who actually help people resolve disputes, so that we have a large number of good people. Important thing is, I mean, they don't have to be really large numbers, but they have to be good people. So we just right now spreading that, getting people in, and then create that Uber of mediation. So we have people in every part of the world, in every corner also, if it is possible. And if people can, you said reaching out, Instagram is good. Felicity spoke about influencers because she had some experience when she, just before COVID, she was traveling and then she got stuck during COVID, and how influencers gave her more information than she could get from the government. So influencers can be brought in. That's one thing. So reaching out to people, there will be ways to do it, except that, I mean, we need the people also, the numbers on the platform. So that part of it is what is happening today, getting the numbers into the platform.
So you're concentrating more right now on growing your network of mediators.
Yeah.
And peacemakers.
And sorry?
Not only professional mediators, and peacemakers also. And
peacemakers.
These good people Vikram tells about.
Okay, I must have missed that bit, but it's okay. I shall listen back on the recording. But yes, the people that you want to recruit to your network of mediators, I would perhaps offer that if you're part of growing a network of people to work with, is having an incentive for them to join your network. And so it's something that you could work on as a two-pronged attack, because you can find the mediators that you require, especially if you offer a service like this, mediation for travelers to countries. When somebody contacts you in a place where you don't have a mediator, by being able to directly contact a mediator and say, listen, join our network. We've got somebody in your country that needs your help now. and you're going to be in a better position to know how to contact the mediator in any given country. Just because you don't have mediators there doesn't mean that you don't know how to bring them on board and to work with them. You know what you all work within a certain modus operandi, I imagine.
No, I think in terms of the network, I have people all over the world right now. But here, in terms of getting down to even smaller places in a country, I want those numbers also to come in. But then, okay, that you're right. At least we can spread the message. Let's reach out to people who are the users. Let's get users in, and then based on that, we can always find people in every part of the world. Is not a problem at all. I don't think that should not be an issue. And this thing about telling people to come onto the platform because these opportunities are there. So that is how things are working. So you're creating the opportunities, getting people in, getting people in them, getting them in, giving them opportunities. So it's all working together. But it's at the planting of the seeds level right now.
And the thing that, as you quite rightly point out, there's a whole load of strands that have to be brought together. And then you have to also consider how this thing is going to be administered. What sort of computer system are you going to have in place? How are you going to, if you're going to monetize it, how do the finances work? There's an awful lot of things that when you get into building an international network that you have to consider. And those things tend to cost money.
Yeah, because the thing is, again, this is going to happen where people who want to be part of that larger, say, database, let's call it a database, larger database, they pay something to be part of that database. On the user front, to access that database, they can pay something. So keep it simple and keep it all something which is happening on the system itself. So let's not have any human intervention there at all, not required. Because you want a location, the location comes like Uber. That's like I said about the Uber part of it.
No, of course, I understand perfectly. But it costs money to set up that system.
Yeah, so that's the one that
you've got to have a revenue strand to pay for it.
So to start with, everyone who wants to be on that database can contribute a certain thing. I'll fix up the amount to put that system in place. So everyone can contribute to be part of that, because I really want to keep it still something which is not really, I mean, I don't, okay, money should come in, but it should not be the sole idea. At least cost should get covered to start with. Yes, some money comes in that goes into Instagram ads, goes into Facebook ads. So revenue also has to keep coming in, which is what people have to understand. So I'll put that out right now up till say this month. I would say maybe even June. All the various circles is what I really want to finish launching. And I've already launched some 50 plus circles in various parts, but there are lots of countries which are still left out. So launching those circles is what I want to do by June. And then once we have all those people who are part of it, let's put this out that to be part of that platform, this is the contribution required. Some revenue comes in, the system gets put into place. So yes, all that has to happen, Dominique, and you can always keep giving us your thoughts on that. It's in terms of the...
What Dominique said about his feelings as a stranger in a foreign country must be something very common, like tourists, people who work and live in foreign countries also have, which are not people that have this, that live the way Dominique lives.
No, also what I need to introduce to Dominique is the whole concept of the World Mediation Circle. I think that's what I need to do. The idea of the World Mediation Circle, Dominique, was that you really...
Say goodbye. I'm sorry. I will try to be back at the evening.
Not try, you have to be there.
You have to see you later, Mandy.
Hi. Dominique,
Ciao.
see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Vikram.
Bye. So Dominic, the concept behind the World Mediation Circle is actually creating a community, not just of mediators, but also people who are part of communities who have the mindset that disputes should be resolved amicably. So in every community, you are creating a community. So these people who are part of the community who are not mediators, but people who have that mindset that disputes need to be resolved amicably, are also part of the World Mediation Circle, because the World Mediation Circle, the whole idea is on a, I mean, again, this is a long-term thing, that you are actually redefining politics at what says at where you have mediators as leaders who can actually build consensus and move away from the divide and rule that the colonizer gave us. So that's the larger concept of that community. So when people who are part of that community are people who are going to travel, I want that to be, in a way, a community knowing each other. That's the way I want it to be. But that's going to take its time, because circles are being created and people are going to like Felicity is going to be working on, say, universities in colleges in Sydney or in Australia. Not, she's in Brisbane, but in Australia. So those people will come into the community. They'll take it into their families and their communities. So the larger community is going to develop of people who, one, have to be good human beings. Second, they want to sit down and resolve things amicably, which I think both of them are connected maybe in some way or the other. So in a way, the users are also part of the community. So that's what I'm trying to say. That community becomes such that the users are also there, and then because they are connected in some way with each other. So if you are like, you now know Felicity and you are traveling to Brisbane, or you know someone who's traveling there, you can tell them that, okay, you have an issue, why don't you speak to Felicity? Like Mandy told you to get in touch with me. So that's how that, in a way, a community is being formed. So,
Yes.
so the users also might be part of the community itself, in the long term.
Organically, it's growing organically. It's the way,
but
yes.
but at the same time, I have to create opportunities for the mediators who are coming into the community. So this is one of those opportunities being created. We were talking about the police mediation circle, so that in the local area, the mediator is sent as the first responder instead of a policeman going there, because sometimes a mediator can actually handle it better, maybe. So creating opportunities in every way possible.
Yes. Okay. So do you have a network on, for example, LinkedIn? That's the professional network. That seems to be the one that you use, LinkedIn, I believe, as well, don't you?
Yeah.
So those nowadays, I see more and more that those kind of communities exist online, and so if you can find your map, so to speak, of how all those online communities can interact and work together, as you say, little amounts of money, €1 per 10 hits kind of thing, you can start to generate a little bit of revenue to help you administer what you are trying to do. And you would have to have some kind of central system place for people to be able to, for the user, because you're creating a system of circles of mediators, and then at the same time you're creating an end user market.
Yeah.
So you've got to administer that in some way, and that's the bit that will cost you. And that's the bit where you can get money from, as you say, both parties for being part of and for using the service. That's
what needs to be done. This is what I'm telling you. The starting point is telling people to contribute. First of all, that has to happen, because I really kept saying that this is a movement. It is not a commercial organization. So being part of that movement, some people may be able to pay, some people might not be able to pay so much. I don't want anyone to miss out, only because of the fact that they can't pay a certain amount. So I never ever said that you have to pay this to be part of the activities.
No, and you're quite right. And if you do it by a voluntary donation system, where it's supported by you, the user, and you, the people involved in the community, some people may only be able to give you €1, and others might be able to give you a lot more.
Exactly.
So it's a good idea not to have a price on it. It's free, but we're funded by voluntary contributions.
Yeah, but only thing I realized over the years is that no one wants to make voluntary contributions because I set up a Patreon page, but never, for maybe a few 5-6 people maybe became patrons, so that didn't work out too well.
but people who use services. So if I, for example, in the situation that I found myself in India, if I called on you in your mediation capacity to come and help me deal with that problem, I would feel compelled to at least buy you a cup of coffee, but give you something. And people would give you more than that if they're the kind of people who are going to use it. They're more affluent than the local community, certainly, if you're talking about travelers. And they would give you an amount of money for the service. They would feel happy to do that, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what and I want that system to work out where the tourist and the person whom they get in touch with, they deal with themselves on their own. I mean, it's their whatever way they want to do it, the person, whatever they want to ask that person to pay. So that transaction happens between them.
Exactly.
So this database, to access that database is what maybe you can pay or a small amount to access it. Maybe we can do that so that a name pops up for you and you can actually get in touch with that person, and for a person to put themselves on that platform, voluntary contribution, because we'll have people from all over the world. Say someone sitting in a small part of maybe India, maybe in Congo, maybe in Australia also, may not at this point of time be able to pay a certain amount, fixed amount, maybe not. So let's give them that option to start with. If that funding comes in, perfectly all right. If it doesn't come in, we can always ask people to pay a fixed amount. Asking for a fixed amount is the easiest thing to do, but I don't want people to be left out. That's been my only thing all throughout the years that I've been doing this. I don't want anyone to be left out only because they don't have the paying capacity. That's something which I really did not want.
I quite agree with that philosophy. Yeah. It's a bit like the National Health Service.
So this is what it is. So things will happen. I mean, right now I'm telling you that the fact of getting that motion of people actually going out and creating larger circles or creating circles itself, that activity is happening right now. So I'm okay with more people coming in, but the people who come in, let's start creating this platform for them to at least put themselves out there. So that's going to happen. So all that is in place. I think maybe I'll take June for actually the circles, as many as can be launched. And then after that, only working on that platform and the systems and things like that, because after some time, I mean, it's been quite some time now, I'll be traveling. So I'll get some time off to do other things. So we'll get that going. So,
okay.
So Dominic, your thoughts, please keep them coming.
With pleasure.
Always nice.
I certainly, as I said, when we spoke about it at the beginning, and when I spoke with Maddie about it, I've thought about it only in the capacity of the structure of being a traveller and requiring that service. But I can see that there are many other ways that it can be used. Whether it be, I'm working with a television company on the island here, and there's many situations that I've had to mediate between the owners and the clients and the company. So there's the film industry, the television industry, people who travel for that. Having somebody, it's not just the fixer, it's having somebody to mediate it could be very advantageous.
Absolutely.
And so it's getting everybody to understand that service exists. It's a service that people haven't thought about before, so we have to introduce that.
And service with the right people. That's the main thing. That when you get in touch with someone, so say like if you are going, say you were going, or someone else gets in touch with Felicity, that person should have a good experience. I mean, yes, she was doing this from the heart. She actually helped us. And this story, like you were telling us about your experience with me, it's nice to hear that. It's just nice to hear that yes, someone connected and you had a good experience. You went back, at least knowing that there is Vikram there sitting in Delhi. I have some connection with him. That's the kind of community that I'm trying to create. That the good people connecting with each other. Yes, money is one of the aspects in life that people need, we'll find a way that they can get what they also want, but at the same time, it should not be the prime reason for them to be connecting. I don't want that to happen. So it's a little fine balance there, and I mean, it's always a little difficult in the world that we live in, that that is not only going to be about money, it's about the connection. So there are enough people in this world who have that feeling that it's not only about money, but they being paid for their services, people don't mind. If someone is benefiting from someone's service, I'm sure they'll be, I mean, I feel they'll be quite fair in the way they'll pay them. So even that aspect also, I tell people that, look, it's perfectly all right. Whatever you want to pay, whatever value you receive, that should be all right. That's the way it should be. So it'll happen. I mean, it's another way of looking at commercial transaction. In a way, this is also a commercial transaction. It's a different way of looking at it, that being fair with each other, feeling part of a community and things like that. So things.
So beyond that, though, too, if there's enough traction and the app is actually being utilized, then there'll be advertisers that want to advertise on the platform, and that can be the revenue source to keep it cost efficient for the end user.
It'll be the other way. Yeah, it can be the other way around.
Ignore that aspect.
Yeah, the travel places you can have. If someone is traveling somewhere, at least the hotels, the booking sites, anyone, even the smaller amounts which come in, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be huge amount. Even smaller amounts to put the system in place, to reach out to people, whatever way it's going to be, through Instagram advertising or whatever other way, through government tourist websites or whatever. There'll be various ways to reach people.
And also hotels. You can, if you, certainly for local based advertising, or not just advertising, but putting your services out there, the mediators should be in communication with the hotels, with the manager, or if it's a better quality hotel, the manager, the concierge, the reception, whoever it is, to let them know that your services are there. You never know when a client of a hotel needs help that the hotel can't necessarily deal with. And if you're there as a mediator and they know that you're there, they might suggest your services to their guest.
Absolutely. That's the way. That's what needs to be done. That's what I'm saying here. What's been my, let's call it a challenge, is getting mediators to really reach out to these people. So it's like telling mediators to actually go to hotels and tell them this, that if there is an issue, you can call me in. We don't know. I mean, maybe the hotel wants to pay for your services. It doesn't have to be even the tourist. Maybe the hotel wants to pay for that. So those arrangements right now, what's happened, Dominic, is that the mediation world has developed. It's a very, I think it's still a small world that is developing out there, and only it has very fixed ideas as to what mediation is about and where it has to happen and how it has to happen. I'm trying to open that out. One, in relation to just the discussion on mediation itself, it's very limited. So I've tried in the various events of mine, various topics in relation to mediation, opening that discussion. And then where all opportunities exist, because one is we're talking about tourists, then police, we're talking about, now next is going to be healthcare mediation circles. So you'll have, every hospital should have a mediator available to them. So there are lots of these opportunities which haven't developed, and which is where mediators need to understand that there is so much work out there, but maybe you're not tapping at the right source. Right now, what's happening is coming through the court system. People think something's gone into the court, so mediation should happen through the court system. I think that's the worst place to do it, because you've already gone through the lawyers. Lawyers are now in control of the dispute. It's not you. So,
yes.
So that's why we are trying to get them at the spot where that aspect is out of the picture.
So I was just wanted to add to it, kind of works in with what you've just said as well. The mediator, it works on trust. You have to trust that person. So if you're a person in a community who is a mediator, of course you have to introduce yourself to all the different people in the community who you would be working with. But you can't just leave it at that. You have to build a relationship with those people. So if you go to the hotel, it's no good just going one time. You have to go in and say hi and just, how are you? And so that people know who you are. And they'll say, at the beginning, they'll say to you, oh, sorry, can I help you? And you can just, it's just a question of getting used to being around the people who are going to use you. So I'm not saying that you have to have a program every week to visit every hotel, but you know, in my job, I don't just send clients to restaurants and boat people and so on. The suppliers that we recruit, which is the same as what you're doing, I go and visit them for no reason at all. I might take them a cup of coffee, some of them. Otherwise, I'm just going to say hi, so that they know me. When I call for my clients, they're going to take notice because they know me. And that's also part of being the local contact.
Absolutely. I think that's what needs to happen. That's why Felicity is now going to be in touch with hotels, hospitals, the police, who else, other places, wherever the user is available to us, as in a environment where he's not under the influence of lawyers. That's the kind of space that we have to think about.
Yeah, and that's why you would have a problem at the police, but not a problem per se. But you know, maybe some policemen would be happy to say, look, guys, you could solve this problem by talking to a mediator. But I think the police would be in trouble for suggesting that, because their job is to make sure that the people have legal counsel, isn't it? So it's a double-edged sword, that one.
Dominic, you've traveled the world. You know, if you come to India, the policemen are the mediators.
Yeah. Well, and they're big stick as well.
Both ways. Look, they actually end up being the mediators, and of course, they get paid for it also in certain ways.
Yeah.
So that activity is already happening.
Know the people, and they know the people, and that's why the trust is in them, because people say, oh, this policeman, I know him, and he's as honest as a policeman can be, or whatever it is. They have their chosen one. It's their cousin, their brother-in-laws, I don't know. And it's the same here. Don't think it's any different in Greece. It's really not. There's a network, especially on a small island, and communities are simply islands on land.
Yeah.
And there's a break between, well, Felicity, Australia. I mean, come on. You have a city and a town, and then you've got about 2,000 kilometers with nothing before the next one.
But we are a very sprawled out country, for sure.
I know.
It's always fun. One of our challenges that our tourists have often when they come to Australia is they underestimate the size of the country. And they think they're going to get from Brisbane to Sydney to Perth in 2 days by car, you know, which, gosh, that's just not going to happen. And that's often a misconception that our travellers have, that what they expect to be able to do and where they are paid to be, without understanding the sheer size of the country.
Of course.
I've heard stories where, you know, a tourist would jump into a taxi at the airport in Brisbane, say, and say how much to get to Melbourne. And it's like, well, you could catch a plane, or but you know, the joke here is the taxi driver says, "Sure, jump in," because you know that's a great fare. But that is something that comes up quite frequently. Is the just the complete underestimation of the size of the country and the distance.
That comes down to a lack of planning on their part, as
lack
well.
Of planning. And the other thing that trips up our tourists is, you know, our train network and things also tends to be local to cities rather than connecting major. It's different, you know. Sydney and Katoomba are connected by train. There are some connections, but not always. I don't think I can jump on a train from Brisbane to Adelaide, unless there's been some massive infrastructure that I've missed. I can't do that. And whereas when people come from Europe, particularly, you can get everywhere by train. And it's not even something that's considered. Isn't that how everyone operates? And it's like the sheer size of that here is it's a challenging infrastructure to have us all connected by train networks, for example. But our planes are fantastic. So yeah. We can't get everywhere.
Many times, so I know very well.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can understand exactly the kind of problems, because of course the tourists would arrive and maybe they hire a camper van to do their journey, and they think, oh yeah, we'll do that in a couple of days, and it's like, hold on, China, you're not going to do that in that, you know, you're driving a very 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 long way. So yes, and then of course people who haven't thought that one through are also the kind of people that tend not to think through the journey if they actually get round to making the journey and find themselves in the middle of nowhere in some small town in the middle of Australia without knowing what to do about it.
Yes,
so
with
going to cut in there.
That's it, without necessarily good mobile reception too. You know, like it's you know, it's a challenging. There does need to be planning when tourists come to Australia. If they plan to see the country, they do need to understand the country, and I think that's true for anywhere. But that there does need to be research, and they need to know where they're going and how long it takes. And there are lots of apps that help. Roam to Rome is a great app that you know, you can put in your destinations and it will tell you all the different ways that you can get there: bus, train, car, aeroplane, and it gives you all the different ways of getting to a location and the time that it takes. And so there's resources out there, but people do have to know to use them.
It just because I think this is also applies to younger generations, because they have everything at their fingertips at the moment they need it, as long as they've got mobile reception, as you say. They feel that somehow replaces any kind of research before the fact, because they're not used to researching, because they don't need to research like we used to have to, and still do, in fact, especially if you're traveling. You need to do your research to know what you're going to encounter and how you're going to get from place to place and how long it takes, and many things. And so, of course,
it seems one of the major preoccupations of people's research is our wildlife. This seems to be what they're a bit upset about. And it's wildlife's fine. You respect it, it's fine.
But now
you can't mediate in that one.
No, you won't do too well mediating with a snake.
No.
But the interesting thing, Dominic, that came up with from Romain, what Romain was saying was that there are places like the US tells people not to go to Congo, and how we can actually mediation or people available for people to help them in issues in relation to that country can actually help in promotion of tourism also, because a lot of people might not travel there, but if they have that little support system available to them and a credible support system, so that's why to create a credible
if you can have some kind of accreditation, shall we say?
That word, we don't use that word. We don't use that word. We don't like that word.
Okay, pick another word. But the reason I said accreditation is because if you then are talking to the tourist board, especially in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, for example, Romain, your national tourist board will be promoting the country abroad. So you need to have good communication with somebody there to say, look, we provide a local mediation service. so that people don't have to get involved with the lawyers and the police and the this and that. We can step in and help people, and then how it operates, you have to discuss with them. You have to tell them how it operates, but they're the people who are going to promote it for you abroad.
Yeah.
And they're there to recommend people like yourself, in fact.
That's why the importance of Romain actually creating the Congo Mediation Circle and bringing in the right people into it. This is for every country. That's why it's important. So that when you go out, you actually talking to the government, the people that you have as part of the circle by itself will give that confidence to the government also, that they have the right people with them. So that's the most important part here, that the trust and the credibility that those people have in their communities, that will also help for the credibility of the larger circle. So
look, I don't know, there would need to be some research, but if a country is on a caution to travel list by another country, people's travel insurance might well be impacted if you decide to go anyway. So I think those things need to be
which I think people choose.
Also.
But people choose because look, if someone sitting in the US says that, look, I really want to visit Congo, it's really beautiful, but the government says, look, the advisory is there. I mean, they can't force you to not to go, but the advisory is there. Based on the advisory, yes, there might be issues in terms of insurance payments and all, but the travel will still happen. I'm sure people are still traveling. I mean, even everywhere in the world, if people are coming to India, there's always some advisory or the other which is going out by countries. This place, don't go to this part of India, don't do this. But people still travel. I mean, the travel is going to happen.
I was reading an article by a guy who was traveling in Syria. Literally the other day, it was against all travel advice to go to Syria, but he wanted to travel in Syria, and he'd heard that there's no restriction to go into Syria. I think he went in from where did he go in from? Lebanon, I think. I don't remember. But he was able to go into Syria, and he traveled across Syria, which is considered dangerous on all government advice lists. But the government only offer advice, and they will tell you what consular services are available in their government websites. So if they advise you not to travel, and they don't have consular assistance in the country, then they're not telling you you're not allowed to go, but they're just telling you what they are able to provide or not.
Exactly. And that's what you have to weigh up as the traveler.
Exactly. That's the thing. That's the decision of the traveler, because finally, but only thing every time Dominic has been you using traveler and tourist. I specifically use tourist only because the traveler is a larger community, but the tourist part of it was chosen because these are people who are going there without any connections, only for travel. A traveler will have other connections. It could be a business traveler, so he'll have some people in that country whom he's going to. Who are the other travelers? Who all form as part of the larger traveler set, and then the tourist part? So please, who are the other travelers? One is business travelers.
Okay, so I define. It's a very personal definition, all right. But a tourist is somebody who goes to a place like Australia for a 3-week holiday, and they pack their suitcase and they arrive at the airport and they take a taxi to the hotel, and then they go do their thing for 2 or 3 weeks, and then they get on the plane and they go home, and they've been somewhere. A traveler I see as somebody who is organizing things more on the fly. They're oftentimes traveling with a backpack, and they're moving, and they're staying in different kinds of accommodation which they may not have pre-booked, and they'll take the rough with the smooth. And that I see as a different kind of traveler. It can be they could travel in one country, but they're there to experience the country and to travel in the country and get a sense of the community and the places that they're visiting. The tourist gets off the plane, goes to their hotel, walks around the town, takes some photographs, goes to the beach, goes out to a restaurant, probably a Western restaurant, and then goes home. That's my difference. And sorry, just to add to that, the traveller is also, you can have professional travellers that are obviously very experienced travellers who make their living doing fantastic journeys around the world all the time. My son, just for your, has just arrived back across the Atlantic. I think it's his third crossing of the Atlantic, and he sent me a photograph of himself on the deck of his ship, of his sailing yacht that he's just sailed across from the Caribbean. He doesn't need a mediator, but he might do when he arrives in a port somewhere in a foreign country. That's another community that you can hit up, the yacht community. Why not? Yeah. People travel all the world with the yachts, and they're also people who would contribute.
So basically, one is the name itself. Does that International Tourist Mediation Circle is good enough, or do we need to look at travelers somewhere there? Does a person basically, how I'm looking at it, Dominic, is that a traveler doesn't want to be called a tourist. That's the way I'm looking at it. He thinks that I'm not a tourist. So are we keeping people away because of the word?
If you use the word tourist, then yes, I would. For me, if I was looking at something like that, I would look to see what it is. But because it's for tourists, I would see it as I did in India. I mean, I didn't feel that I needed anybody's help in a country. I can go to a country and I can do my thing. I fixed the problem myself, but it was just useful knowing that you were there, as you know, and we came out very well from it. But many thanks to you, Vikram. It was just a huge, to be able to sit down and have a coffee with you and to say, listen, this is the situation we find ourselves in, and this is what we're planning to do about it. What do you think of that approach? Way to go, that approach? And because as I've said before, it's not necessarily because you don't know how to fix the problem. It's knowing what the local customs are to get over those problems. You may have a perfectly good plan in place, but if you don't sit down and drink a cup of tea with them first, they're not going to do business with you.
And the other thing is, Dominic, in some cultures, maybe India also, the fact that someone talks to you, say, well, I mean, I would speak to this person, just that because of that connection itself, they would resolve things. So the cultures like that. I would look at the Middle East also in the same way. We are relationship people. So it's just that the fact of just reaching out to someone, a local person reaching out to the other person and just saying this much, why don't you settle this? And these are tourists who've come into our country and we should, whatever, I mean, whatever you might say, it connects with people in some cultures. I mean, I know that India, it can work. Middle East also, it works that way. So I think that also helps. I don't know about other places. I don't know, Africa, what the situation would be. Maybe Congo also, it might work the same way. Just because a local person is calling up and just generally asking and saying that, okay, maybe you should solve it, the person might just do it because of that little connection that's been made. I'm not even saying that this person knows the other person. It's just that talking to a local. Do you think, Romain, it helps that way?
Yeah, I think it helps because people who going to a country, even though you have been there before, it takes always to know that I will have somebody there when I go all the time. I'm from Congo. I'm here right now in the United States, but because of so many changes all the time, even myself, when I go back there, I would like to have one beside the news. I want to call somebody, I will ask someone, and specifically in the place that I would like to go first. I would say, is that place good to go for me right now? What is happening where you are? So it's very important to have someone that you can trust, from whom you can take some information. And then if it is someone that can help when something happens, I think it's always better. Yeah. Even though in Congo, yeah, I feel it.
So now only the name part of it is what we left with. Look, tourist is important because people do understand. You have the tourism promotion board, which will understand tourists. A lot of places will understand the tourist part. You'll have the international whatever you have these government approved tourist information booths or something like that. You have those. So that's why the tourist word was chosen there. But if there is a larger understanding of traveler, we have no problem. We can always change. It's in our hands.
I'm afraid I would. The thing that I would say about this is that the name, if you want to have it as a name that's going to connect in some way, the names now are very abstract. Which platform are we using now? Oh yeah, Zoom. Not International Televideo Conferencing Center, Zoom. If I want to travel by car from one place to another and on a rideshare app, I go to an app called BlaBlaCar. Yeah, so that's the thing, is having a snappy, catchy thing, that people go, well, what's that about? You've got to make it less of a corporate formal thing and make it into a I think that's something you have to consider.
That's why all these
something like just SOS.
I don't think you would be allowed to use, actually.
No, but something like that communicates.
Yes.
It's a helpline.
Okay, so basically what some catchy kind of name. Yeah, some catchy name to be picked up for the larger branding of the platform, which is when that database comes out and everything.
The whole organization should come under the umbrella, so that would give you its own, sort of identity without being something that's a mouthful.
Okay, so
it's something to bear in mind, perhaps.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I understand that part of it also is sometimes important when you're creating something which people should connect with and have it on their tips. It's not just explaining the entire thing. It's the International Tourist Mediation Circle.
No,
yes,
I mean, people use the apps that, they have one name, one word, and that's it. Facebook, Twitter, Google. This is the language of the modern organization, and I think that it's easier, isn't it? You can make up your own name. Take the letters from international mediation, or try and make an anagram out of something, out of some initials, something that just goes bang. That's who you contact when you want that.
Okay, so what we have to do is
something that speaks to the emotional place of where the person is when they reach out.
We have to this discussion we have to have off the record, because we'll have to trademark that name also.
Yes, that's true.
and you have to think very carefully. Make sure that your name, when you say about helping hands, for example, type of thing, I wouldn't suggest that but if you took that kind of idea towards your approach, that it can't be misunderstood or misconstrued in some way. You're not offering a care. Well, you are offering a carer service, but in a different way. But not if somebody's suicidal or gone through mourning and grief. That's sort of the helping hands. Do you see what I mean? You need to have something that clearly identifies what you are and what you do.
So what we're going to do with this brainstorming, but look, Dominic, we can't do this while it's being recorded and going out on YouTube. I'll have to shut this, because I'm telling you that name is going to we'll have to trademark it. So we won't do that. We have that discussion. This brainstorming is important. Whether that catchy name has to be when I say the Uber for mediation, that when I say Uber, Uber. That's what I'm saying. When I used Uber, so similarly, it needs to come out. So that Uber says we are the dash of cabs. We want that people to say that we are the dash of cabs. So that's Okay, so we have to create that kind of thing. But let me, what I'm going to do is let me shut the recording part of it, because these are very, these are confidential information to be discussed within us.
I'm going to have to go at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see you in the okay. We're not going to see you in the evening. It'll be too late for you.
I will try. I'm going to try. If I'm still around at 1 a.m., I'll log in.
Perfect. Great.
Have a great time, Felicity. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
See you
Thank
soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rumen. So we'll see you in the evening if you're up. It'll be late for you also.
So, where are you, Romain? Are you in the US now, or are you in?
Yeah, I'm in the US now, in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. How often do you go back to the Democratic Republic of?
I'm in the Democratic Republic of Congo for most of the time. I just came around December. This time I came in January, stay with my family, because my wife and my kids are here in the United States. But I work in Congo.
You work in Congo?
If you guys, if you guys don't mind, can I just stop the recording? It's
yes.
Okay?
Oh yeah.
So thank you very much for being part of the session. We're going to see you in the next session.